What's up, thumpers and homies? Welcome back to another reaction. We are doing a reaction to the BTS reel of The Suicide Squad. Very fun panel. This was like the shit show I had been waiting for all day.
Chaos.
The roast of Michael Rooker. I loved this panel so much. This
panel was insane. The cast in this movie is insane. This may be the best cast for any superhero movie. Okay, if we're outside of Avengers Endgame, that's the cheat.
Sure.
That's the cheat one where they had everybody. Yeah. But outside of that, this may be the best superhero cast. And most everybody, I feel like, except for Taika, a couple of other actors, showed up to play. It was chaos.
I have a theory about that. I want to talk about after we watch this video.
Okay. I know I missed the panel, so I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but I did see one screenshot of what's his name, Color King or something like that.
Polka Dot Man?
Was it Polka Dot Man? No?
Yeah.
Isn't he something else? I thought he was in Batman Brave and the Bold, like Color King or something like that.
I think it's Polka Dot Man. Yeah. I think.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
They went real obscure for this.
Wow. Okay.
Just to sort of sum up the panel, Augustine, like it's James Gunn. He showed up. He talked about how this experience making this movie has been his favorite one yet. And I don't think he was throwing shade to the Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy movies or other movies he's worked on before, but it really feels like in terms of James Gunn and his career, he's hitting his stride with just like, you know what I mean? Like he knows what he can bring to the table. He's so much, his set is apparently so much fun. Similar to the Wonder Woman panel, they talk about how fun that set was, but like this cast would be so much fun to hang out with, let alone like make a fun action. You had John Cena in there, Idris Elba, Viola Davis, like Flula Borg. Like these hilarious people, Peter Capaldi, it was insane. So then instead of showing a trailer or anything, because they just wrapped, I think in March or something, they have behind the scenes footage that we're about to watch. I watch it because I'm like, this isn't a trailer. I'm watching this. And it's so good. We are going to see some clips from the footage of the movie. Adam, have you seen this yet?
I did watch this. Yeah.
Okay, so this is all for Augustine, baby. I cannot wait.
This is all me.
I also kind of watched this passively, so I'll probably catch a lot more stuff the second time.
Okay.
All right, are we ready?
I think I'm ready. Hold on. Let me adjust my screen size here. Okay, so we're going on go again,
going
right?
On
so
go, baby.
Go.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Awesome.
I think it's going to surprise people.
You kind of sit there and go, how did they do that?
It's my boy.
It's going to be different from any superhero movie ever made.
I believe him.
There's no one better in the world to direct The Suicide Squad.
This is true.
Than James Gunn.
I was excited with an opportunity to be able to do The Suicide Squad in the way it could be done from my point of view.
This one is completely unique.
Yeah.
This is a gritty 1970s war movie combined with brilliance of James Gunn's characters and comedy.
The light up boomerangs.
To set the vibe.
The Suicide Squad is just a twisted fantasy of characters.
Within each of our characters, there's a certain beauty. Within most of them. Some of them are just pretty crappy through and through.
Douchey Captain America.
The guy who believes in peace at any cost, no matter how many people he needs to kill along the way.
Okay, I got it.
Awesome. Don't ever settle back.
John Cena's perfect.
You know where this is going because you don't.
As soon as you have some sense about what's about to happen next, James comes in.
Everyone's exploding. Genitals, heads, arms, legs.
It's like a big, massive graphic novel brought to life.
This is by far the biggest movie I've ever made.
I don't think that you know what to expect.
Don't get too attached.
This has been truly the greatest, most exciting journey of my life making this film.
Oh, man.
That was great.
I'm so happy for him, dude.
Wow.
I'm so happy for him. He also
Let's
said,
go, baby.
He also said on the panel, like, well, first of all, Augustine, what'd you make of that?
Holy crap. I wasn't ready for that. I was not ready for that at all. In my head, I have such a, like, the first tone of Suicide Squad was in such a way that I wasn't expecting it to take much of a turn from what it was already. This looks like it's a whole different beast at this point. And you're right. It looks like James Gunn is in his element. He's 100% confident in what he's doing. and it looks to me. So I'm a big proponent of like having a good workspace, right?
Yeah.
Like I love working with you guys because we have a great workspace and we could do what we want. And it looks like all these people were in that amazing workspace and they all loved what they were doing.
Yeah.
So dope.
In terms of the effects, I remember this from the panel, which I think is great too. Like, and I also want to commend like DC Fandom overall. There was a couple moments where they mentioned, I mean, during the milestone panel, like Jim Lee was talking about his history with Image Comics. Like they mentioned their competition, and in the James Gunn talking about this movie for the Suicide Squad, he was like, I'm working with a stunt coordinator, like a stunts and sort of explosions expert or visual effects people. He goes, I'm working with this guy or this team that worked on all the Marvel movies I did. And he goes, and those are great movies. And I was like, I'm really surprised that DC Fandom is just like, that they're just like letting that happen in there.
Yeah, of course.
And then he goes on to say that team or that individual says that this movie has more like effect shots than any of the movies that they worked on for Marvel put together. Yeah. Which is insane because it's like Guardians 2 was like mostly effect shots. It feels like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for them to be saying that about either stunts, explosions, or even effects shots, it's like you wouldn't think that with the Suicide Squad because it's normally pretty grounded level characters. There's rarely characters that have crazy powerful powers or they go into space or whatever.
Yeah.
And even then they're running around in the jungle. It's like, what kinds of effects? Well, first of all, you had King Shark who like ate a dude. And Adam, does King Shark have to do with your theory of Taika? Because a lot of people are saying they think Taika is going to be the voice of King Shark. Steve Agee was the on-set actor who was there for King Shark, just like Sean Gunn is Weasel, that guy that was like that weird creature that was licking the
glass.
But I have a feeling it's going to be Taika too, because I feel like if you look up the history of King Shark, he could be Pacific Islander. Like he could be like,
of course,
that part of the world. And so they'll just give, him like a New Zealand, like Maori accent.
At the end of the day, all I want is Korg and King Shark in a movie together.
Oh my God.
Come on.
That would be a great buddy movie.
Amazing.
Absolutely great buddy movie.
If we get that Marvel DC crossover before like Superman and Spider-Man, fine.
I'd be okay with it.
I'd be okay with it too. I would watch that movie. Yeah.
I love the energy in the panel. Like you guys are saying, or like Augustine said specifically, it seems like it was a really, really good working environment, and everybody had an opportunity to sort of like bring something of their own to the table. And I think there's a lot of characters that are in that roster that I know passively I have never researched ever. Like King Shark, we've seen him in other stuff. We've even seen him on Flash, and he looked awesome on the Flash.
Yes. But speaking of that research, Adam, like just earlier today,
I know what you're going to mention. This is awesome.
we have a mutual friend, Ash Crossan, her boyfriend Daniel Kennedy said the exact same thing. Adam says Daniel Kennedy's like, I'm not, I don't know anything I'm not usually a DC guy. These characters seem so crazy and obscure. Where can I read them? Ash tagged me and goes, this looks like a question for Hector. Yeah. So then I was like, I got you, dude. So then at exactly 2:14 p.m. this afternoon, both myself and director James Gunn tweeted the exact same thing to Daniel that was like, James Gunn's pulling characters from all over the DC universe, from every different corner, but mostly it's the John Ostrander Suicide Squad run that starts with Volume 1, Trial by Fire or something. Like, we both said that pretty much the same at exactly the same minute. And then James Gunn saw my tweet and he goes, hi, we said the same thing at the same time.
Nice.
So it was pretty amazing validation. It was pretty great, but it's just exciting to know that like that's what his game plan is. In the same way that when he did Guardians for Marvel, he was remixing that stuff too. That stuff is not super comic accurate. No, it was the movie that was like Groot only says I am Groot. In the comic books, he had a limited vocab. Those kinds of differences, and it's like. That doesn't matter. It's about James Gunn finding a group of characters that he thought would really play well together. His take on Ego was pretty different, but it was really great for that story, for Star-Lord, for that specific Star-Lord. So what James having access to all of the DC Universe characters and him going straight to guys like Polka Dot Man and Ratcatcher, who's the second Ratcatcher. This character's gonna be Ratcatcher 2. And Thinker,
I love that though. I love that they actually went out of their way to be like, it's the second one.
It's amazing. And also like more than half of these actors and these characters are gonna die in this movie. It's gonna be fucking great.
I mean, Joel Kinnaman says he's like, don't get too attached.
Yep.
I also love like, so they did the whole, there's another video where they did the whole roster rundown.
Yeah.
And I love seeing Joel Kinnaman's Rick Flag, and he actually has like I think it's like the turtleneck with the short sleeves or whatever cut off. I'm like, yellow, and I'm like, dude, this is like you're literally pulling straight out of Ostrander's comics. Yeah. I think he even like said something to the effect of it's not necessarily an adaptation of those comic books. It's kind of more of like not necessarily a sequel, but it's an expansion of that take on the characters, which I thought was really cool too.
If the writer John Ostrander, who did the comics in the 80s, were to work on these characters today, what would that writer or what would a writer like him do?
Yeah,
kind of that's what he's doing. But I'm with you, Augustine, dude. I was excited about this movie, but I had no idea what I was in store for. And after this panel and this reel and the character introduction video, this shot to the top of my list of like most anticipated upcoming DC movies.
Yeah.
Maybe tied with the Batman, and I haven't even seen that trailer yet.
Right
now, I'm like, dude, I'm Suicide Squad all the way.
100%. I think in order to prepare for this movie, we need to watch some Rambo First Blood. We need to watch some Predator. We definitely need to watch some Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
Hell yes.
Like, let's get all into those movies to get ready for this one, because I think that's the vein they're going to go in.
And I'm super excited the fact that those two movies, the Batman and the Suicide Squad, are coming out literally like 3 months apart.
Oh, hell that's good times.
We're going to get to see this in August, and I think the Batman comes out in October. So it's going to be back to back. That's
awesome. Good times. Yeah.
So I'm super pumped. And yeah, that panel was great. The cast was super enthusiastic. And it just made me really, really, really excited to meet these obscure characters like Javelin or TDK or, all these characters that are being played by all these awesome actors.
Yeah.
It's just really, really exciting. And I'm honestly, more than anything, I'm just excited to see the property of Suicide Squad get another go. Because I think it would have been very easy for Warner Brothers to be like, we tried it and it didn't work, so let's not do it again. I'm glad that they gave it a second chance.
It's kind of mind-blowing that, like, the normal Hollywood procedure of, like, we'll put out a movie, see how it does, and determine if we make a sequel, is, I think, what happened with Man of Steel and Superman. And it's unfortunate. I know that Batman versus Superman was the next thing, but it's like, let's be real, that was greenlit because of Batman. And again, when we talk about the Flash later, it's like, let's be real. I'm sure a huge selling point on this new Flash movie is like, we can have multiple Batmans. Like, everybody loves Batman.
We're putting Michael Keaton in the movie.
I mean, that's great. We'll talk about Flash later, but the point is, like you said, Adam, Suicide Squad is such a gold idea that I am so glad that the movie comes out, and whether it was successful or not, or whether like the studio found it to be successful for whatever reason, that maybe it was James Gunn, maybe they approached James Gunn, but when James Gunn was fired from Marvel Disney and Warner Brothers was like, hey, come over, we're doing superhero movies too, come, that James Gunn went, I want to do Suicide Squad. And they didn't go, we tried it, it didn't really work. How about a solo Harley Quinn movie? Or how about that they were like, okay. And he's able to bring characters back, and he's able to I think
continuity.
He's going to listen, he talked about his passion for these characters. He talked about his passion for characters like Amanda Waller. And it's like, I can't wait to see what he came up with for Viola Davis to do as Amanda Waller. And it felt like he really understood what that character was. Right. This whole thing was not about bashing the David Ayer film Suicide Squad, but again, it's like, I really wish that level of commitment or understanding the potentiality of the characters could have been true for Superman, could have been true for Cyborg. Where's the Cyborg movie? That was promised. Where's the new Green Lantern? All that other stuff. But in any case, if the way that we can get great sequels is through, I mean, so far Suicide Squad's given us Birds of Prey, basically, which I'm like, thank you, great. Margot Robbie to Birds of Prey, loved it. Now Suicide Squad, loved it. Let's just keep letting James Gunn bounce back and forth between Marvel. Like, let him go back to do Guardians 3, finish it out, and make it awesome movie. And then if he wants, go back to DC, keep making obscure-ass DC characters into movies. Fine, let's go.
I'm into it. I think one more thing before we go. The brilliant thing about Suicide Squad is in the fact that the characters and the whole series on its own is built on like living and dying, where it's like, yeah, these characters come in and it's called Suicide Squad. They will probably die. They're there with probably on a suicide mission. So I think that kind of reiterates itself through the whole series, where like, yeah, maybe that first iteration didn't work. That was the first Suicide Squad. No bueno. Now we got to move on to the next one. This Suicide Squad, maybe they're all going to die at the end anyway. Then we're going to have another version. We bring in another director. We have another vision of what the Suicide Squad is, which is freaking brilliant because this can keep going forever as long as the movies are great.
Yeah, it could totally be an anthology series if they wanted it to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super pumped about it, yeah.
So pumped. I was also so delightfully excited to find out that Idris Elba is playing Bloodsport. Is that the character's name? Bloodsport? Who is famous for this Superman cover. Well, first of all, it seemed like he was a character written in to replace Deadshot.
Yes.
Deadshot's played by prominent black actor Will Smith. Deadshot had a little girl, a daughter in the film, and that's part of his storyline. So now James Gunn introduces Idris Elba, and we get this character sizzle reel. He's Bloodsport, who is a character who was created in the, I want to say 80s, 90s, where he's famously on a cover, like shooting this huge, massive gun, black character, and he was known for shooting Superman with a kryptonite bullet. And apparently in this
it's created
movie,
by John Byrne, so
yes, that's
late
right.
80s,
John
early
Byrne,
90s.
The Man of Steel, like sort of Superman reboot that was happening in the 80s after Batman Year One and stuff. And so what's cool is that it feels like this character, who in James Gunn's movie also has a daughter, except now she's being played by Storm Reed from A Wrinkle in Time and a bunch of other stuff.
Invisible Man, so good.
Yeah, Invisible Man, she was good in that. It feels like this character could still occupy a similar role that he had intended for Will Smith and Deadshot. But like knowing James Gunn and knowing how he cares about the uniqueness of each of these characters, I still think we're going to get a very unique like take on Bloodsport. And James said at the beginning of the movie, he's in jail because he shot Superman with a kryptonite bullet. And I'm like, yo, we're gonna get some Henry Cavill footage. Like, that's amazing. I just want to see
this. Are we gonna see this?
Just a doctored piece of footage of like him flying in Man of Steel and then, and then he went to jail. Like that. That's so great, man. Playing with that mythology, I love it.
Yeah. Really, really cool. I'm super excited about it. It looks awesome, guys. Let us know in the comments what you thought about this. Any characters that you're particularly excited for. You know, I think we're all generally excited for all the characters and to see James Gunn's take on everybody. And if there's any Easter eggs that we might have missed in the sizzle reel, I will point out that Harley Quinn's, one of her costumes looks like it's a straight reference to, I believe, Injustice, or one of the Arkham games, which I think looks really, really cool. But let us know in the comments below. Hit us up if we missed any Easter eggs, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.
Bye.